A very good morning to all of you children. Children, today we are going to start chapter 6 of your book, History, that is Rise of Independent Regional Powers. Now, if you look at the name, Rise of Independent Regional Powers, um, independent means self-made and regional powers, region means a place or a particular area. So, here in the last chapter, as we know, we discussed about how the Mughal rule declined and it was disintegrating. So, many of the independent powers, they were emerging. Among them were the Marathas who fought for some authority and they gained control over major part of India. And in some places like Bengal and Bengal, governors of these provinces, they took advantage of the situation and they became the rulers themselves for particular regions. Now, here, children, today we are going to discuss the Marathas. These were the self-made people. When I say self-made people, means they really had the power. Marathas alone had the power and the potential to establish the whole of India. Okay, so they were really they're strong. If you talk about the army or with the respect to the administration. Okay, now. Aurangzeb, who was a Mughal ruler, he had captured and imprisoned Shahu. Shahu was Shivaji's grandson. Okay, so when Aurangzeb died, Shahu was released. Okay, in 1707. All right, and in 1730, when Shahu was released after Aurangzeb's death, okay, there was a war of succession among the Marathas. Who's going to come on the throne? All right, and in 1717 it was decided that Shahu will be made the head of the Marathas. Okay, and with now Shahu gained throne with the help of Balaji Vishwanath. He was a very you can say he was a mastermind, and he helped him. He helped Shahu take the throne. All right. Now Shahu was really not a very good administrator. He was weak, and it was only Balaji Vishwanath's plans which were executed by Shahu. So we can say that Shahu was a ceremonial head. Means he did not have the actual power. Only the authority was there. Okay. Balaji Vishwanath, he made, because Shahu was very happy that he got the throne, so he made Balaji Vishwanath as the chief minister. Now, chief minister was called the Peshwa. Okay, it was the chief minister who had all the powers. Okay, and he was the real, Balaji Vishwanath was the real ruler. Okay, of the Marathas. Now, it was because of Balaji only, because he took advantage of the weakness of the Mughal Empire, and he conquered back. He restored all the territories that were there of the Marathas, of the Marathas with the Mughals. So he restored back all the territories and all the regions to Shahu. Okay, because of his efforts only. Now there was another thing that was implemented, was there were taxes of Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. Okay, this is don't worry, all of this is in your book. I would recommend you to learn this thing as a chart only then you will be understanding it nicely, and you will never forget also. So this is Chauth and Sardeshmukhi, they were the taxes, and it was because of Balaji Vishwanath only that these two taxes were the Marathas, they had the right to levy these two taxes. Now Chauth was a tax which was it's written here that was 1/4 of the total revenue of the cultivators, which was paid to the ruler. So Chauth, as the name says, only it's 1/4. Okay. Then Sardeshmukhi was an additional 10%, which was 1/10, you can say, of the land revenue in the form of tribute to the the king, okay, Maratha king. So these two taxes, Marathas had the power to collect these two taxes also, okay. So then again, in 1719, Balaji Vishwanath marched to Delhi, and he also helped, Sayyid brothers to get rid of Farooq Shiar, who was there. And in between, Marathas, Balaji Vishwanath was a very, very, you can say he had good plans and worked for the advantage of the Marathas. He had gained many advantages and concessions from the Mughals. Okay, now Maratha, and he laid the foundation of the hereditary dynastic rule of the Peshwas, and was succeeded by his son Baji Rao I. Okay, so he was, then again Peshwa was called the ruler only, because he was the one who was handling all the things. So he laid the dynasty of the Peshwas, and he was succeeded by Bajirao I. Now Bajirao I was again a very he was a military genius, and under his rule, the Marathas, they from a kingdom they became, and they grew into an empire. Okay, and there were these major Maratha families that were there, and he had divided the various the regions into these among these families. That was the Scindias, the Bhosles, the Gaikwads, and the Holkars. These four families you should know and you should remember. Okay. Then and there were spheres of influence for these families. Means Bhosles were concerned. Now, if you look at the map also that's given in your book, you can see that towards the west they are the Gaikwads, and towards the north they are the Scindias, and the central of the Maratha Empire was the Holkars and the Bhosles. Okay, so they had the spheres of influence. All right. Then Bajirao I was succeeded by Balaji Bajirao. Okay, Balaji Bajirao when Shahu died. Okay, then this Balaji, when Shahu died, the Peshwa became the official head of the Maratha Empire, and Pune became the headquarters. Now it was Balaji Bajirao who contributed to the policy of expansion, and Marathas had a vision of having a control over the western part of India as well, and they moved towards towards Punjab, where they fought the third battle of Panipat with Ahmad Shah Abdali. Okay, this third battle of Panipat, which was fought in 1761, the Marathas lost badly. Everything was, it was a major struggle, and they could not. The result was that they could not defeat Ahmad Shah Abdali and capture the north of India. So the Marathas' ambition of replacing, or Marathas' ambition of ruling over India was shattered. Okay, and at the same time Ahmad Shah Abdali was an Afghan, and even he was not successful to rule all over India. So this paved rule for East India Company to step in and take advantage of the whole situation. So children, today we learnt about how Marathas they captured and grew their territories in India after the Mughals, okay, and how their downfall led to the entry of East India Company. I hope you have understood. Please do read the part from your book as well. Thank you.